baseball, not always the best team wins, right? You got to still go out there and get it done.
Hello, everyone. Welcome out to the Ozark Mountain Sports Complex. Sometimes it's early.
Yes,
we're just starting. But we are here at the MSHSAA State Championships for baseball, getting ready for Class 3 and 4 to start. And to my right, I have the executive. I don't know. I always get those assistant
executive
director in charge of baseball, Daryl Bradley. I always mix up those.
Yeah. Good morning. Thanks for having me, Brian.
Absolutely. It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
I will say this, and I've said this, and I think this has been something we started covering the championships in 21 with Youth Baseball Midwest, and every year we've come down here. It's gotten better.
Yeah.
Every year, I think everything is smoother. Everything moves. Just the whole overall atmosphere, everything is better. You know, for people watching, Daryl, I don't think people understand what it takes to pull off an event like this. The man hours, the manpower, the preparation. I know Mr. Kaufman in there. He's last year was his first year as the media director.
Yes.
And doing a great job.
Yes.
You know, because before it was kind of like, where do we go? What do we do? Whatnot. And he's been able to kind of keep everything moving in the right direction that way. So it's been great.
Well, I'm glad you're having a great experience in third year doing this as well. Learn something new every day. It is a lot of work on our office. I mean, a lot of people don't know. I mean, we have a total staff of roughly about 30 people, and there's only about 5 or 6 of people in my role that actually oversee championships and given rule interpretations or, bylaw interpretations. A lot of people don't understand. We're sometimes juggling 2 or 3 things at once. And then if we're not doing our own thing, we're also assisting at other championships. So when you talk about work, and then Andrew oversees all of those championships with the communications and getting people, the right information. And, hopefully I know that, he was a former broadcaster and understands, has been in the role of you media folks and wants to make it accommodating and everything. But, just to back up, it's just a crazy spring in our office, between answering emails or this or that. My month of May, I'm also in charge of Scholar Bowl. I ran a championship May 8th and 9th and then, having the postseason and officials and just the things that go on during the baseball season. I also have softball helping out at a golf championship. I was at both days of state track. And so I'm looking forward to Saturday night.
You need a vacation, don't you?
Yeah, no, but I love it. I love
right.
I don't get an opportunity to get out and see a lot of games during the regular season and be out. So this is my opportunity. I mean, the work's done when we get to this point and actually get to watch some baseball and connect with folks. And that I really enjoy it. So this is a great time of year and great facility. And, we've had gorgeous weather the last few days. So it's an exciting time.
Absolutely. Shout out to Randy Merriman and his crew here at Ozark Mountain Sports Complex. The new turf.
Yes.
Looks pretty fabulous.
Yes.
And I'm going to do that. We're going to talk to Randy later in the week. And there's some cool story behind that.
Well, especially where the turf was, used. And I'll let him talk about that. But I really like the additions to the bullpen and the angle of that to kind of mirror the actual mound. And you don't see a lot of ballparks like that have that in mind, and they really did a good job of doing that. And I mean, because he also coaches as well and understands the importance of that, and so it's also great for our teams. You don't necessarily need a personal protector out there now. We got a some netting behind the catcher, and so they can keep an eye on things. They've got some new fencing, kind of shortening the foul line, the space. So a lot of great new additions besides the turf.
Right. Exactly. I love that. And every year it seems like, and I told Randy this yesterday we were talking, I said, man, every time I come down here, there's something new. And he says, we're working on it.
Just always improving. It's unfortunate. We were, I don't know. We were spoiled because we had the Mariucci building at one point. It kind of, we understand it's a business down here too, and it's exclusively pickleball courts. But, I know they're building a separate hitting facility up here on the other end. But really, they have a pavilion down there, covered pavilion for batting cages, and we can still, it's really the same process for checking teams in. We try to make it as easy as possible for our teams and our coaches. They still drop off in the same area. They could take their team photo on day one, and they get their hitting time. They get to relax down there, ready to go, as long as it's not raining. But I'm sure we may see some of that. But it's been a pretty seamless process so far. You don't have to have a bunch of credentials coming in here. You just check in your team. It's easy peasy. They get ready to go for their game.
One of the things that I think is interesting, the second year of the Class 5 and 6 best of 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you what, this year,
exciting,
wasn't it?
Yeah. So we had 5 of the 8 quarterfinals go best of 3. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think 3 of those teams that advanced lost game 1 and went on to win 2 in a row. Yes. So, it seems to be, from everything I'm hearing, our teams love it. And I believe that our lower classes want to get there eventually. That's going to take a little time possibly, but we certainly hear their concerns, and we'll discuss them in the advisory committee and maybe get the ADs involved in AD advisory. But it could be a process, but certainly we're not ruling that out. The rationale behind that in the get-go was because the Class 5 and 6 teams didn't have a sectional game, and you could potentially have that number one starter, win a quarterfinal game, win a semifinal game and then get you to a state championship game potentially.
Right.
And you can't do that in our 1 through 4 because they have a sectional game. You can't ride that horse all the way to the Final Four.
It's true.
But it's certainly popular, and we're going to talk about it and see if we can, find a path for making that happen.
It was some exciting baseball, through the districts and what we saw, and I love that because it really proves the depth of a baseball team.
Yeah.
And especially when you're talking about guys that maybe didn't even get to pitch in a in a state playoff, now had an opportunity.
Yeah.
It was necessary.
Yes.
And I just love it because it just made for really exciting baseball. Had some walk-offs.
Yeah.
And it was kooky, man.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't follow as close as I can, but it seems like, there was a lot of teams that were expected to move on, didn't quite make it, even to a district championship game. It was blowing my mind. I couldn't believe all the parity that was going on around the state, So
we do not condone betting or anything like that. But if you were paying attention to me and it was like that, you'd have lost your house.
Yeah. I mean, but it's baseball. It's not necessarily who the best team is. Sometimes every team gets an opportunity to move forward, but it's who's better that day.
Yes.
And I understand, there's pitching matchups and things that come into play as well, but it was a crazy postseason.
It was, man. And we talked about this a lot, Daryl. This year was so unpredictable. And for the first time, since we've been covering it, the majority of the 5 and 6 schools are the private schools. I was
Yeah.
shocked.
Yeah.
2 on the Class 5 and 3 on the Class 6 side,
Mm-hmm.
which has been the reverse
Mm-hmm.
for the last so many years. And so I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, it is. And it's not just the larger classes. I mean, if you've been following along so far, we had Faith Christian and Northland Christian with the smaller schools. So, there are several this year, but that's just the way it goes. They're all members. They all get an opportunity, just like the publics, and see how it plays out. And it just so happens there's a good number of teams here.
Best story, one of the best stories of the week is Faith Christian Academy, in my estimation. Third year.
Yeah.
Third year. They were 5-0 in their first year. That was it. Played 5 games. They were 5-0. Year 2 in Class 1, folks, they took second place. Championship factor points bumped them to Class 2. So what did they do? They just said, "Oh heck, we'll just win the whole thing."
Yeah, why not? Yeah, no, they've had a great start to their baseball history. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if any other team has ever done that, but maybe they had some talents like, hey, let's get this going. And I don't know how that all kind of started, but yeah,
right.
It's
definitely
pretty
starts
amazing
with talent, right?
Yeah, it's definitely it was amazing.
That's a fantastic story, and I'm sure Northland was glad to see him gone because they'd lost to him the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And I was talking to the Northland coach, and I said, Coach, you're probably going to get the championship factor bump now too. And he said, yeah. I said, so we'll see you with Faith Christian Academy next year.
Certainly. Yeah. Yeah. And that's part of it. That's what comes with success. And, and then, they'll be battling it out again. Maybe.
Absolutely. So. Little rivalries. I love the rivalries.
You
so
bet.
Another thing that people I don't know how many people know, it's the 100th year.
Yes.
Celebration of MSHSAA. How's that been this year?
We've been planning this celebration, pretty much ever since I got in the office 3 years ago, preparing for this. And so, the biggest thing is I'm amazed by it. Our mascot, Mo, has been at 100 different locations this year.
Wow.
Or they're at 98 right now, and they're heading to St. Louis to go to soccer to finish up the last 2, and it's just an amazing story. I was like, how are they going to get this done? But they've been all over the state. Our website, we've had several. If you haven't had an opportunity, you can click on the Centennial tab and see everything that we've done. Our former associate director, Stacy Schrader, worked very hard on. Wrote a book,
Yes.
wrote a book, and we've had those for sale at all of our. It's just a history of the association, and it has a lot of great information, a lot of photos. It's been great. So we've got that, and in addition, all the website stuff. We have a timeline of what happened, all the, everything that's happened through our history. We've been promoting it through our championships, and. We had a 100-year celebration at the office in Columbia, February 6th. That was the actual date. I believe February 4th, but it worked out for us to have it on the 6th. But, a lot of preparation has been gone into it. We have a lot of swag and a lot of things we've been giving out. For instance, this year, all the teams get a 100th-year patch. All the individuals and the coaches that are participating in our Final Four. They get those. So we've tried to make this as special as possible because it is a big deal. The association has been around that long.
I think it's great. We had Coach Brian Harmon on from the Missouri High School Baseball Coaches Association. And, and that was the question. And for this all to work, those relationships with coaches and administrators and it's vital.
Yeah, it is. And that's how we get a lot of questions. I'm not saying complaints. Why do we do this or that?
Right,
and I think you got to think outside the lens of a coach or a parent sometime and understand what that process is. And it's not necessarily what's best for one individual team or region. It's we're all in this together, and how can we create equal opportunities for all of our schools? And and if they're good for it, we're going to make those changes. But there's probably a reason why. There's probably some, and trust me, we've been in business for 100 years. So we've probably seen every situation that's happened. And, we're just trying to create an equal, competitive atmosphere and, hopefully teach kids life lessons and things. And, we're not college or pro baseball or sports. It is different.
It is. I agree.
It is different, but the relationship between our coaches, our administrators, and our association is very vital in order to try to get, to make the best decisions possible moving forward. And how can we make things better? And I know our board is, I understand sometimes make decisions that aren't popular, but we follow our bylaws and our rules. And if they need to be changed, they're looking into those things.
Sure.
We see those concerns. So, but that communication and that working together is very important.
I think that's the toughest thing. Because I understand exactly, because we deal with these same situations. Keeping the perspective, I've got all this. We're going to have some fun today talking about the players,
sure,
the games, and we try to make it as big as possible.
Certainly.
But I think the toughest thing is that balance, understanding these are still student athletes in high school.
Yeah.
What do you say? How much do you say? It's not a professional athlete making millions of dollars or a collegiate athlete getting NIL money and things of that nature. And I think that has changed the landscape of those things. So being careful not to, I think, get caught up in some of those things when it is high school baseball.
Educational based athletics. And what kind of lessons are we learning that's going to carry you on to, the rest of your life? And that's our mission and our goal. And, and sometimes decisions aren't popular and things, but, we understand some of those things, but, it is high school sports, and it's educational based, and, we're going to follow our mission, and, a lot of kids don't go on to play in college or
Right.
in the pros. And what kind of lessons are they learning in their high school experience to carry them through the rest of your life? So that's what it's about.
I agree. You guys got on here a Centennial National Anthem. Now, I've read through a lot of this. I've never played that.
Uh-huh.
Who wrote this?
Well, our associate director, James Melton, who is in charge of tennis and music. If anybody doesn't know that, music it involves so many of our students around the state. Our state music festival, if you've never been, have you?
Band guy.
Yeah,
I was there.
10,000.
I remember going to Columbia.
Yeah.
In high school for the music championships in the districts.
There's a lot of individuals, and
that's been a while.
Well, it's still a big, and it is our biggest event. It's a lot to coordinate, but James is real involved in the music community and does a great job. But he worked with several band directors and all state bands and choirs to, and I don't want to miss. Music's not my area,
right,
But they worked on composing this and arranging the national anthem to be played at all of our events. And then there's a little bit of the Missouri Waltz in there. I haven't found it yet, but I can't read or listen to music and try to interpret it. It sounds like a national anthem, but
that's what you guys have been playing here,
yes,
right?
We've been playing it here. Those are Missouri students performing our national anthem for our 100th year centennial celebration. So it's great. I get chills every time I hear it. It's just great.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Daryl, I always appreciate you guys taking the time, because one of the things for us, I understand, when you're talking about different things, the question marks, the things, what do you say, what don't you say?
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about kids, you're dealing with young people, even, young, sometimes you get a freshman that's 14 years old, and understanding how those things move, that that child through development and whatnot. They're not easy decisions all the time, not popular a lot of the time,
Sure.
or even sometimes. But I appreciate what you guys do.
Thanks.
I wanted to tell you that.
I appreciate. I mean, in all fairness, we follow our bylaws, we follow our board policy, we follow our constitution, and if I understand, and we are a member, 100% member of the NFHS. So we follow the rules, and we've been, I didn't write any of these rules. I mean,
I wasn't there when they wrote
there's a lot of rules, but I got to follow them, and I've got to give interpretations, and
Right.
and they may not like the answer, but this is how we do it,
Exactly.
and we understand that they may be unpopular, but the schools have decided at one point in time in our 100-year history that this was important. Now, do some of them things need to be looked at again? And that's what our board is tasked to do and to look at. And, so I think we've got a very progressive board, and the people in the office are open-minded to look at some of these things. And talking to our membership, I mean, we talked to our membership in our area meetings about, all right, we're hearing a lot about hardship transfers, and sometimes it's trying to figure out, who's being truthful sometimes,
Oh.
and those are tough decisions. And so we asked the membership about, all right, are you in favor of a one-time free transfer, getting rid of the hardship? And, so believe it or not, it's not announced to the public in a lot of areas, but we are talking to our schools about what do you want to do with this? All right. And you're wondering why. Well, how did they get to go here? There's a
Right.
process.
Yes.
There's a process, and and to everything. If things are denied, we have a appeals board, and then when they can appeal to our board of directors, and sometimes those decisions get approved, and sometimes they don't. So I think if you're questioning why things are done, just open up our handbook. And do some reading and
Read the rule book.
and our schools are self-governing. Like I said earlier, we have an office of about 30 people, and I'm telling you, a lot of things that come into our office get pushed onto our schools to investigate and things.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they've already looked into those things. So whatever people hear or may not be true, and our schools are self-governing. It's their responsibility to report on it if they have made a violation. So, I mean, but I'm telling you, I mean, it's difficult sometimes, but there is a process, and fair and equitable, and we're self-governing, and we rely on our schools to help us out in some of those areas.
That's the way it works, folks. I love that. I've umpired quite a bit over the years, and I always thought one of the fascinating things was you hear from the stands every now and again, you should read the rule book.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have to, because they make me take a test.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you mention umpires. I mean, yeah. I mean, we have some great umpires around the state, and these umpires are here, and even the ones that have been throughout the postseason, they've been selected.
Yeah.
Because they've been recommended by our coaches and from our leadership team for the sport of baseball, and that's taken into account, so these people here have earned the right to be here. You may not be happy with their strike zone or this or that, but these guys have earned the right. We have all of our areas of the state represented. And so it's a good mix, and we get new officials that come here. We get some that have been here before.
Yep.
And I think for the most part, they do a great job.
I've seen a lot of younger faces out here. I love that part of it.
Well, since I've been doing this, I believe we had close to 15 the first year I came. New umpires, never been in the state tournament. Last year we had 18 out of 24. But they did a good job. This year it's no different. I think we have 14 new ones. So you got to, I mean, yes, you don't want to have the same people come back. We do have a 3-year rotation. we got to give people an opportunity and give them a reason to continue on to doing this. And we're trying to reward those folks. And but these people have earned the right to be here.
A young man that I've seen now, watched him cover St. Charles West. His name's Carson Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
Graduated. He is now umpiring. Amisha, have seen him out at the games. Just one of the nicest young men, quality kid, doing a great job out there. I love to see that. We need more of that.
I agree.
You know, those kids that, you know, maybe you're not going on to play. Keep back into the community, give back. Parents, take it easy on the umpires. Remember, we're reading that sportsmanship piece at the beginning of the game for a reason. And that's what it's about. And I think those things are very important.
I agree. And, you know, it's very important. I understand the communities and schools,
Yes.
but it is a game. We're trying to teach lifelong lessons, and but it's been great here so far.
Yes,
you
it
know,
has.
and there's been some good baseball, and you know, we do need to continue to get more people involved in officiating, and not just baseball, everything. But you mentioned it. You are a young kid, or you know, even if you're in high school, you can get certified.
Yes.
And you can umpire, you know, middle school level games, and then it'll give you a good leap board into going after that. And it's a good college part-time job. You trust me, you'll get opportunities to have games, but it's just a great opportunity people aren't taking advantage of. And even some of you dads that are out there that are used to going to the ballpark, and then maybe your kids have graduated and moved on and maybe looking for something to do.
Yeah.
Get involved. You know, it's just great to be, you know, involved with the sport that you love, and to continue to give back. You know.
Mr. Bradley.
All right, brother. Thank you
Always
for all
a
you do.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Folks, thanks for tuning in. If you want to learn more about MSHSAA, umpiring, all of that, go to MSHSAA.org. Watching some great baseball the rest of the week, MSHSAA TV right there on the channel. Go check that out. We're going to see some really good baseball all through today and the rest of the week. So make sure you go to the station, go watch. Great guys calling the game. They do a fantastic job. Thanks, and we'll see you at the ballpark.